The word creativity is again, it's difficult to explain because it's like, what does the word good mean? You know, or what does the word valuable mean? You know, these are definitely very subjective words, but they're very functional in our daily lives. We say those words all the time. And so I think we can talk about creativity, but I don't know if I can actually exactly define it. But when I think of kind of, I guess, the necessity of creativity or the importance of creativity in our lives, it's almost like saying the importance of air or food or, you know, personal relationships. Creativity saturates everything that we do, and it doesn't matter what profession you're in. The fact is that everybody that engages creatively in whatever they do makes a very distinct mark in their lives and in other people's lives. The more creative somebody is, the more it benefits and enriches our lives, and it has to do with everything in our lives. So creativity is at work on every possible level that we don't necessarily think of on a daily basis. My parents have brought wonderful things into who I am. And so I see my identity in composition as a mix between being a Chickasaw Indian and a classically trained musician. And so I focus personally on bringing my Indian identity into the classical fine arts. I also have a very, I would say, gregarious and dramatic personality, and that's how I approach life. It's how I think. It's how I feel, and ultimately, that's what comes out in my music is actually a high sense of drama. And I feel that in two different ways. One is that I do have a very romantic and a very deeply romantic sense of my Indian identity. To me, it feels very intense. It feels very romantic. It feels very historically strong. And so I feel that personally. And on top of that, both of my parents were involved in the theater. And so I grew up with a lot of theater exposure. I'm just saturated in theater, and the ballets that I experienced as a kid were Rite of Spring and Petrushka and Romeo and Juliet, and I mean, I saw this repertoire being set on students since I was a kid. So I think between those two elements of myself, that very much defines the kind of expression that comes out in my music. It's very forward and very dramatic. American Indian music varies greatly, just like music in general does. So if I would say, you know, American music, well, there's so many styles and genres of American music. But you know, really the most obvious thing about American Indian music is that it involves American Indians, and there's all kinds of ways in which American Indians express their identity and their feelings of being American Indian within their music. So there are different styles, but the consistent thing is that it's Indians that are involved in expressing who they are through music. I do like the interest of being an American Indian and being an American Indian composer, and I do love talking about that with people and exploring it, and I love the questions that come with it, and I do want people to be interested in that. But there's a brutal truth to all of that, and that is one must be good at what they do in order to get their point across or to be appreciated. And the bottom line is that what stays in history is what is good. And again, it doesn't matter what profession or what area that you're in, what is good sticks. And so, yes, I do want people to be interested in the fact that I'm American Indian, but more than that, I want them to think that my music is good. I think for every state, embracing creativity is critical. It's absolutely critical. And every state has a very specific identity. This is one thing that's really, really cool about the United States, is that centrism that exists in each state. We have state identity, and Oklahoma has its own specific identity as a state, and I personally see it as this cowboy and Indian state. But the creative element comes in how we embrace it, how we develop it, how we foster it, and then how we express that to the United States and the world abroad. So there are different individuals and different elements of this state that only come from here, and our creativity kicks in identifying that and feeding it and fostering it and solidifying it and making it more and more. This is who we are. So I believe that's what creativity does for any state, and specifically for the state of Oklahoma.